Greetings from the Second Age of Reason. Today we're going to talk about your freedoms. We're going to talk about left and right, up and down, forward and backwards, and any other imaginable or unimaginable direction. Because I see people always talk about a given law, a given right, a given something else, and they always frame it in terms of left and right. This lefty says this or that, righty says that. And the American way is not lefty or righty. That's something that's being pushed in your direction and used to color and tint everything. And it's used to put things in a unfavorable light because they make up critical words about them as if liberal is a naughty word, or as if conservative, regressive is a naughty word. And those words are just used to tinge it and get you into an emotional reaction. And that's not the case at all. In the case of America, our founding fathers had mostly wanted to focus on things called liberty and wanted to have people controlling their own lives more. Because a lot of the things they were protesting, which came from the British Crown, from the King, we kind of see happening today in our own government. And I just want to frame those things in that context. And let's talk about the difference between a good law and a bad law. And you have to look at things also in terms of individuals and collectives. An individual is a person like you and like me. A collective is a group of people, such as the group of all Democrats, or the group of all Republicans, or the group of all rich and the group of all poor, or a corporation is a collective. A labor union is a collective. A church is a collective. Those are collective things, and because they can take little bits of money and they can combine them together to make big bits of money, and that can control things. It can control the law. And there's our first truly naughty word, is control. So you want to look at a given law or a given statement, and you're going to say, does this affect me? And if it does, okay, it's individuals. If it's truly American, it will be giving you more freedoms, more liberties. It will be supporting your rights and not trampling on the rights of anybody else. That's a good law. A bad law is a law that takes away your rights, limits your rights, puts conditions on your rights, licenses your rights, and controls. That is the foundation of tyranny. And then that's individually. Now collectives, because they have the advantage of combining, their numbers, their finances, and other things, the collectives need to be limited. They need to be restricted and controlled. So control it by itself is a neutral word. Depends if you're applying it to individuals or if you're applying it to collectives. Collectives such as corporations, unions, religions, governments, and all that sort of thing. So I want to frame it in those terms rather than in terms of lefty and righty and liberal and conservative and all that stuff. So if somebody comes out and wants to restrict your freedom of speech or give you a free speech zone and that is anti-liberty, anti-individual. If somebody wants to come and do things to collectives, like put rules on corporations, that might be something to be looking at, because they have the power of numbers and money over individuals, and so the power needs to be balanced. But in terms of things like patents and copyrights, patents and copyrights were to give creators of content, creators of innovation, a limited monopoly. They weren't intended to be a perpetual revenue stream. So the idea is, okay, you can invent an invention, a patent, and it gets certified and registered. Then it is protected by the government for, say, 7 years. At the end of 7 years, the patent should end. The idea should be in the public domain. And copyrights, well, that's like things like music and books. Those things should maybe have a little longer span of life, such as maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Set a number, and that's it. You know, if you make patent and copyright protection a perpetual revenue stream that can be renewed, you know, up until 100 years past the death of the inventor, that doesn't encourage innovation in the way the law was initially intended. That sort of chokes off innovation, because they'll lock in their patents and keep that forever, instead of the idea going into the public domain where it belongs, instead of the work going into the public domain where it belongs. Certain things should have been in the public domain a long time already, and because of the laws that they've passed in recent decades, they still are considered copyrighted and proprietary until whenever, because they keep renewing it. So I just thought I'd mention that, because if the laws impinge on the individual and control and restrict and make things illegal, that's not in the true American tradition of liberty and freedom. In terms then, when a thing is invented, it's usually invented by a person, or maybe a team. And you know, the team should get the credit for it. The author should get the credit for his creative works. It shouldn't be able to be taken over by a collective, such as a corporation, who then enshrines it in a perpetual revenue stream of patent and copyright. I think that needs to be also clarified, and if the international powers that be don't like it, well, too bad. They can just simply go off and do their own thing if they want. I think we need to make it so that innovation has a small lifetime, so that at the end of it, after the 7 years or whatever, you have to come up with something new if you want to keep your money coming. You have to invent, you have to compose, you have to write, you have to keep it new and keep it moving. Otherwise, the whole creative process is going to stagnate. So, those are my ideas on freedom, liberty, and creativity, and patents and copyrights. So until later, we'll be seeing you.